Hey guys, Slater Magic here, and I know that a lot of people have talked about this topic. Are there too many Planeswalkers in Standard right now? I've heard other YouTubers say absolutely there is. I've heard people at my LGS during F&M say there's too many damn Planeswalkers. I've seen people who quit the game like 4 years ago look at the modern sets and say, well, I always want to say modern. I don't mean modern the format. I mean modern as in the latest couple sets in Standard, and say, oh my god, why are there so many damn Planeswalkers? Well, the answer to that is because they make money. I mean, duh, it's not exactly a mystery. Like, even a bad Planeswalker will be like $4, and, you know, a $4 card is alright, I guess. I mean, Mythic Spot, maybe it's not great, but I've seen worse. There's a lot of 50-cent Mythics out there, okay? I've seen them. And you know why they kind of have a price floor? Because somebody's going to play them, because Planeswalkers are just good. And I think that's the main problem people have with Planeswalkers, is they're too damn powerful. Now, from a design standpoint, from before they used to exist and now after, if they were going to invent a new concept that's just totally not seen before, totally brand new, totally out of left field, a sort of sixth color of mana in the form of wastes. Whoa, mind-blowing. They even changed the symbol. Whoa, but everybody hated it, nobody used it. It was mostly just a nuisance and made spells harder to cast. So at that point, they might as well have just added purple mana to the game or whatever, and honestly, if they did that, people would probably find issue with that, because it would actually just make the game more complicated to play. It would be harder to get things off, harder to find the right mana combination, harder to run the best of, you know, every spell. It would actually be a detriment. It would be, you know, pretty out of left field and pretty novel, but, you know, not good. Unfortunately, I gotta label Planeswalkers about the same way, but I will say that that was brilliant. I mean, it's like adding another player to the game without really adding another player to the game. It's kind of like somebody else shows up and starts battling for you alongside you. Like, the lore, the story, it lines up perfectly. The flavor of it is insane. People know all the Planeswalkers' backstories. I mean, almost everything about it was great, except for the fact that Planeswalkers are inherently kind of broken and overpowered. Now, they're not that hard to beat. I mean, in general, you just cast Negate. Negate is basically always legal. It's one of the most printed cards in all of Magic. I think, actually, I think it might be. I mean, I know it's like literally like it's a mountain or whatever, island or whatever people said, but ignoring basic lands, I think it's either Negate or Evolving Wilds. But I think it's Negate. I think Negate was the most times it was printed. So, yeah. It's a non-creature spell. Ta-da, 2 mana, it's gone. You spent 5, I spent 2, bye-bye. I mean, you're still trading one card for one card, but at that mana level, you know, you just got devastated. Well, and then there's a couple Planeswalker kill cards. Those are pretty rare. I mean, there's usually at any given time one, but that's about it. I mean, we're looking at like Hero's Downfall, and now there's, well, technically to the Slaughter, but that one I wouldn't qualify because they can sack a creature instead of a Planeswalker. And who the hell's going to summon a Planeswalker without a creature to guard for it, even if the Planeswalker can somewhat protect itself? So there's that new one, I forgot the name of it, Never Return or something like that. That kills a Planeswalker, so that's cool. But like I said, there's usually about one at a time, but you can exile them, of course. You know, bouncing them back to hand doesn't do anything. It's pretty hard to pin them down with like a blue spell. But there were very clear, blatant ways to you know, play around them. It's not like, hey, a protection from Blue Hydra, good luck. If you're running mono blue, that's going to be a problem for you. You're going to have trouble playing around that. Your options are very narrow. But Planeswalkers, I mean, everybody knows how to kill a damn Planeswalker. But the best of the best of the best will take a, oops, the game's completely not going in my favor. It's tipped completely in my opponent's favor. Oh no, I brought out a Planeswalker, now I'm winning and now they're on the defensive. Like, it's like a game state flipper where it can turn an entire game around by itself just by being put on the field. Those are extremely good Planeswalkers, and then also, as everybody says, it's protection, protect themselves. That's pretty important too. So, you know, if you're Elspeth, you can bring out like 3 1/1 soldiers or whatever she did. Yeah, that's kind of broken. I mean, they're not flying or anything. There's still ways to kill her. It's not that hard, but it kind of is, because 3 blockers is a little bit much. So if they can protect themselves, and if they can take a losing game and make it into a winning game, those are the best of the best of the best. And trust me, there are plenty of garbage Planeswalkers out there, but my number one beef with Planeswalkers in general, as a card, as a type, as a thing that exists in the game, is that almost regardless, if you cast a 5 loyalty Planeswalker for 5 mana, the spell might as well have said gain 5 life. In fact, if you're going to +1 loyalty it the second that it comes out, okay, now you just gain 6 life. Because at a certain point, they're going to have to kill the Planeswalker. I mean, some games you can just ignore the Planeswalker, keep attacking the player, and win in like 2 turns, you know. But that's why I said Planeswalkers that can protect themselves, great. Planeswalkers that can take a losing game and make it into a much more even game or a winning game for your opponent, now you're in trouble because chances are, because it's out now, you cannot keep swinging at them and just swing for the win. Otherwise, they probably would have cast something other than a Planeswalker. So, I mean, let's just assume that when it comes out, you're going to have to deal with it, which means that's damage that you could have done to the player because it was, you know, unblocked or in the air or whatever. And oops, now you have to do it to the Planeswalker instead. So, automatically, in addition to what you already get, like, hello, a Planeswalker in the field, you basically gained a boatload of life. Now, okay, for the mana cast cost, which is usually 4, 5, or 6 for the average Planeswalker, okay, like, you know, whatever. There's like, what, Resupply was a card that was like, what, 5 life for too much mana? I don't know. That was the closest card I could think of that gained life. I think it even drew a card. I don't even remember. I think it gained 7 for 5 or something. It was actually a really bad card. So, okay, but then some of the most powerful things in Magic are recurring triggers and recurring abilities, especially, like, that goes double if you don't have to pay for them. So, like, Pacification Array is cool because you can pay 2 colorless whenever you want. It's an artifact. You tap it, and then you tap target creature that opponent controls. So you can do that over and over and over and over and over. It's kind of like having an unlimited number of tap spells in your hand that all cost 2, except you didn't have to draw them. So that's powerful because you can reuse it over and over and over and over and over. And then the trade-off is, well, it's a permanence on the battlefield. They might be able to remove it. But then let's say there's something that says during your upkeep, draw a card. That's it. It's just an enchantment. It sits out there and it just says during your upkeep, draw a card. No, you know, mana, no sack a creature, nothing. That is so much better than like the spell Divination or Anticipate or, you know, Read the Bones or the real typical Sign in Blood kind of cards. Like those all work differently, but those are like one and done. You draw your cards, okay, it's in the graveyard, and now you're, well, I'd say short a card, but you drew some cards. So, I mean, if in the game you can throw out an enchantment that gives you like basically a bonus draw, and then it triggers 10 times, that's like draw 10. I mean, let's say the card costs 4 or something. You just drew 10 cards for 4. I mean, yeah, it was split, it was slow, and they could have removed the, we'll just say enchantment or whatever. But it's still a damn good effect. I mean, that's a lot of cards for, you know, a lot of bang for your buck, mana-wise. So, okay, let's look at Planeswalkers. Well, if they were to print, just pick any Planeswalker. I was going to pick one, but honestly, any Planeswalker that's been printed lately, and cross off Planeswalker and put Artifact, okay? So now it's an Artifact. It has a 0 cost set of 4 or 3 abilities, whatever. Well, loyalty is a bit of a factor, so I'll just say 1 ability. It has 1 ability. You tap it, no mana, and the tap implies, okay, I can only do it once per turn, so I'm trying to be apples to apples here. And then insert whatever the Planeswalker ability does. Okay, the best example I could think of is probably still Pacification Array. Ooh, you tapped a creature, whoop-de-doo. But you look at what some Planeswalkers do, which is like, oh, look at like the top 4 cards in your library and do this with them or something. I mean, sometimes that's the negative ability and you can only do that a certain number of times. But just imagine Planeswalkers and their artifacts. People would be losing their damn minds calling it overpowered garbage. But somehow we give the cards a pass just because they're Planeswalkers. It's understood that they're expensive cards, they're powerful, and they're part of the game, I guess. But why do they have to be? They're kind of a recent invention-ish. So I throw out a Planeswalker for 4 mana. It's 4 loyalty, we'll say, and then I +2 it. Okay. I just gained 6 life for 4 mana. And for the rest of the game, unless they kill it or blow it up, whatever, I'm going to have unlimited use once per turn of a really powerful activated ability. So as easy as it is to blow up an artifact, I would say it's probably easier to kill a Planeswalker overall. They're close though, but I mean, you can't directly attack an artifact with a creature, and most decks run creatures. So assuming you have enough to flood the Planeswalker, they probably wouldn't have cast the Planeswalker in the first place unless they just wanted to use its ability once. That's the exception. So assuming that they could cover for it, okay, now it's like an indestructible artifact, we'll say. So you guys get the parallel. I mean, if this was printed on another card other than a Planeswalker, people would be calling for the ban on every single one of these. Now, Planeswalkers themselves, they are always mythic, so they're always hard to get. They're guaranteed value, which is why, Wizards put them in boxes, because they're typically at least 10. I mean, so a $10 card in the mythic slot, that's pretty good. That helps out the box EVs. It makes more people want to open them. It makes single sellers open them more. The only reason they invented them and keep printing them is money. Are they detrimental to the game? Absolutely. I mean, did they push the power level up to higher than when they existed or didn't exist? Absolutely. Now, the trade-off, the balancing is, most of them cost 4 or 5. I mean, very few of them are like early game. It's like a late game thing, and a ton of them will not flip the game state. If you've got one creature on the field and your opponent is 7 and you bring out a Planeswalker, enjoy your plus whatever or minus whatever, because that Planeswalker is dead on the next swing. See, this is why people freaking hated Ugin. He just comes out and just wipes the board. I mean, it could be 30 creatures versus 0, and you just bring out Ugin and flip off your opponent and blow up everything. Ugin should have never been printed, and he is still, as of today, above $30. That is some stupid, stupid crap. Now, I know what a lot of you are going to say. Okay, Planeswalkers are not that hard to deal with when they come out. You can't really deny that no matter how you kill them, that spell or that creature could have been used better. If Planeswalkers didn't exist at all, you could have probably, done something else with that kill spell or hit the opponent for a couple more life points. But it seems like whenever somebody brings out a Planeswalker, one little slip up and it's dead. I mean, if they have exactly 2 creatures on the field and you have exactly 2 creatures on the field and they're just regular, blah, whatever, no trample, no flying, which by itself, both of those can kill a Planeswalker. Okay, well then during your turn, you cast a kill spell, swing with your 3 damage dude and take out their Planeswalker, he's dead. So, I mean, like I said, one little slip up. It's just, if you had a kill spell and you wanted to overswing with 2 and, get one chump blocked or get one killed, you could have swung at their life points. I mean, you could have swung at the player instead of the Planeswalker. So if that played out exactly the same, great. Now, the big equalizer is Negate. I think that besides basic lands, Negate is the most printed card in all of Magic. It's either that or Evolving Wilds, but I still feel like it's Negate. I think that was printed more. I'm not 100% sure. So I would assume that Negate's never not been legal in Standard. That may or may not be true, actually, but not in my recent memory. It was really close to being in danger of cycling out, but, whatever. So 2 mana, let's say they're spending 5 mana on their Planeswalker. You still traded card for card, but you got better value there. So I really like that. So it's like for 2 mana, I can just completely shut down your Planeswalker. You don't even get its ability once. But I mean, that's just how counterspells work. So it's like, that's not some fascinating new strategy I've developed to kill Planeswalkers. Hey guys, did you know you could cast Essence Scatter to stop the summoning of a large creature? Whoa! And then the other factor I said is, okay, they bring out a Planeswalker, it's annoying, it's recurring, it's powerful, but who cares? Swing at them once, another turn cycle, swing at them again, and just ignore the Planeswalker and you win the game. A lot of Planeswalkers are not good enough to flip the whole board state, where you immediately have to deal with it or you're in trouble. I mean, if you look at Domri Rage from, I'll just say Modern Masters 2017 edition, because I don't remember when he was printed. I would assume Gatecrash, because that's what the set was. He's a 3 loyalty for 3, so that's pretty early, that's pretty fast. His +1 is look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, reveal it and put it in your hand, so a conditional maybe draw. And then I assume if it's not a creature, it goes right back on the top of your deck, except now you know it's not a creature. I mean, that's such a garbage +1. His -2, which you can do a whole total of once before you have to +1 him. Target creature you control fights another target creature. There's like 20 ways to do that already in just green. So instead of casting Domri Raid, you could just cast a fight spell for probably less mana. So that's cool. It would be cool if you could do it like 3 times in a row, but nope. His -7, which, mind you, so you cast him out, he has 3, you +1 him, okay, 4. So now one turn cycle, it's 5, another turn cycle, it's 6, another turn cycle, it's 7, okay, let's suicide him. That is a lot of flippin' turns. So you finally get to -7, you get an emblem with creatures you control have double strike, trample, hexproof, and haste. Holy crap. So he's considered absolute garbage. He's about $3 right now. That might be his buy list price. No, actually, I think he legit is worth $3 retail. I don't know. He's terrible. I mean, he's just weak. It's like, okay, cool. Like, you know, a conditional draw, I can maybe put a creature in my hand. If I'm playing a creature heavy deck, that'd be pretty cool because I'd hit, you know, more than 50-50 maybe. You know, it's cool. It's nice. If he was a 3-cost enchantment and that's all he did, people would probably play it. I mean, people went nuts about that stupid flip up the top card, play with it revealed. If it's a land, drop it in thing, the Courser of Krufix. You know, people thought that was just the best thing ever. It was like a $14 card. It's basically the same thing as Dome Re-Raid. But the fact that he's a Planeswalker, I guess people expect better, which is kind of evidence of what I'm saying, that Planeswalkers are just broken and too powerful. So here's why even one of the worst Planeswalkers ever printed, Dome Re-Raid, is still too damn powerful. Okay, I would put it in a deck that's pretty creature heavy, so chances are by the time he comes out, I've got enough creatures to guard. Even if it's like turn 3, I probably have like 2 creatures on the field already. So is my opponent going to swing at me and kill Dome Re? Probably not. Oh, especially if I can keep protecting him by constantly putting more and more and more creature cards into my hand. Also, if something gets out of control, I could just take a 1/1 Death Toucher and force fight it against like a 5/5 flyer. So Dome Re-Raid is going to be out there for a while. It's kind of hard to kill him. I mean, he'll have probably 4 loyalty by the time you first get to swing at him, so it's not the end of the world. It's just, he might have 1 loyalty and they took out your 1 flyer or your 1 trample guy. So yeah, he's kind of hard to kill. Your opponent is going to have to put in a reasonable amount of effort to get him off the field. Pretty average overall, I would say, for Planeswalkers, but his -7 is such a nightmare that you can't just say, okay, fine, every third turn you get to draw an extra card, who gives a crap, and let him just sit there and +1/+1/+1/+1 and just ignore him and win the game. Just, you know, get your opponent to 0 life. I would not recommend that because, like I said, 3 turn cycles after you take him or put him out on the battlefield, your creatures are going to just win the game. Emblems can't be removed, and that emblem grants double strike, trample, and hexproof, and haste. You just won the game if that emblem comes out. So they have to deal with Dome Re-Raid, and it's kind of hard to deal with them. So even a garbage Planeswalker is really powerful. I mean, if you dropped him into the field, just imagine that. If it was in Standard, holy crap, would he be a nightmare to deal with. And like I said, negate, Hero's Downfall, whatever, you know, it's not impossible to blow him up. Multiple flyers will say, 1 unblockable creature, any red direct damage spell, you know, the list goes on and on and on. Planeswalkers are not absolutely indestructible and just catastrophes to deal with, like some kind of, you know, hexproof creature or something. I mean, he's not Uncle Istvan. That card is broken. I'll take that over a Planeswalker any day. That card is insane, right up there with Stuffy Doll. But still, recurring trigger, extra card draw potentially, and you basically gain 4 life, maybe more, just by spending 3 mana. I mean, just by bringing them out, you got to take the pressure off your life total, because now they have to swing at him. So, I mean, I could go on with more garbage Planeswalkers and explain why still you probably wouldn't want their ult going off, so at a certain point you really do have to kill them. I mean, people pretty much universally agree that the worst Planeswalker ever printed is Tybalt. He's a 2 loyalty for 2, double red. +1, discard a card, or draw a card, then discard a card at random. That's just bad. That's like, that could hurt you. Like, that's how bad that is. His -4, which at 2 loyalty, it's going to take a while. You'd have to wait 3 turn cycles just to not get him killed. But he deals damage equal to the number of cards in target player's hand to that player. So even if you brought him out on turn 2, a couple turn cycles from them, they're probably running low on cards. You could do like 3 damage for like -4 loyalty. That's garbage. I would just ignore it. But here's the kicker, -6. So 3 turn cycles later, including, or not including the turn he came out. Gain control of all creatures in play until end of turn, untap them, they all gain haste. Boom, win the game instantly. Just like that. So, can't really leave Tibalt on the field. And that's the thing, a lot of these Planeswalkers, you just cannot leave them out. You can't do it. Their ultimates are called ultimates for a reason. So it's kind of like if you bring them out and then immediately +1 them, okay, you just added 3 life to your life total, and also you get to draw an extra card and then discard one at random every single turn. That's not bad. If that was an artifact, that's not bad at all. And then that -6, oh my god, they now have to target Tibalt. So they just take a lightning bolt that was meant for you and hit him and do 3 damage to him. Great. Like I said, it's just like gaining 3 life. So besides playability and how much fun they are to play against, which as soon as a Planeswalker hits the field, people just groan and go, oh god, now I gotta deal with this garbage. Let's look at, like, you know, their effect. They sell more product. Every time you open a pack, the Planeswalker in that block, or, well, in that set, whether you opened one or not, has increased the value of that set. Well, I guess it kind of would matter if you opened one or not, but if you opened 1,000 packs, the Planeswalkers would make you more money. So anytime the EV is higher and you open something, that's good. On the downside, you could have a perfect deck and then think, oh boy, I could really throw Jace in there. Oh crap, Jace is $12 a card. Awesome, I didn't really want to spend that much. So it kind of forces you to overspend if you want your deck to be the best that it possibly can be. I don't like that, but a lot of things in Magic are that way. It's never, oh, I need this $2 uncommon that's hyper popular that everybody's playing, like Grasp of Darkness. That's probably not even $2. Grasp of Darkness, oh my god, look at the sheer power of it. It can kill indestructible creatures. This is amazing. But, you know, once in a while, you get a dirt cheap card that, you know, like Grasp, which is probably like $1 at this point. It's like, I need this card. I absolutely have to have this card for my black deck. Lucky me, it's not in the Mythic slot. Guess what? There's a 100% chance that your Planeswalker is going to be in the Mythic slot. So, you know, fork over the money. I don't like that, but to be very specific to the title of this video, are there too many Planeswalkers that are in Standard right now? And I ask that because Mardu Vehicles Super Friends is just the greatest thing ever. I don't know if you've had the wonderful pleasure of playing against that pile of garbage. It is virtually unbeatable. You're worried about their creatures, their crew, all the stuff that has haste, giant flying vehicles coming at you that you can barely stop. You're wasting all your kill spells on it. Oh, and then they drop out a Planeswalker, then another Planeswalker, and then another Planeswalker. And I've seen a white-black deck. A guy's been playing it for like a year and a half straight just about at my LGS. Everybody's getting sick of it, but, you know, he's winning pretty well with it, so why switch? You know, other than the politeness to other players, but, basically, he's running so many Planeswalkers in there, it's ridiculous. He's got Sorin, he's got Ob Nixilis, so it'll be like turn after turn after turn. Not only is he running just mad amounts of control, but he barely even runs creatures, and if he does, it's just Scrap Heap and Eternal. That's basically all that's in his deck. Mind you, that's an infinite loop to bring them back an infinite number of times. So that's his recurring blockers, emergency attackers in case of, you know, game stalling, I guess. But then, I mean, basically just Ob Nixilis' emblem is his win condition. Maybe Sorin too, he's not bad. I forget who he even put in there too, probably Gideon, I think I saw him in there. I think the new Gideon's in there too. So if turn 5 they bring out a Planeswalker, turn 6 they bring out a Planeswalker, then turn 7 they bring out a third Planeswalker, that's a problem. Now guess what? You can't do that when like 2 Jaces are legal because you can only have one Jace in play at once, even if they're different. So one comes out, you're like, okay, I have to deal with this. I cannot let Sorin's ultimate go off. That would be really bad. I have to kill him. Okay, here's my plan. I think I can kill him in 2 turns. Oh god, now Ob Nixilis is on the field. Okay, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Maybe I'll top deck a flyer. Maybe I can like get Cassella out there, grant her haste, and take out one, then take out the other. Okay, this game's salvageable. Next turn, oh look, it's Gideon, or oh look, it's Liliana. No, you're screwed, you just lost. I mean, automatically you lost. So you would have had to have negated at least 2 of them. I think that's kind of unreasonable. I mean, ooh, shocker, blue players can stop things that are powerful. Newsflash. But every other color, you're just screwed. I mean, there's nothing you can do. If they summon 3 Planeswalkers in a row, 3 turns in a row, you're dead. You can't win the game. Is there a board wipe that takes out multiple Planeswalkers? Probably. I think Ingruk's Wake does it, but it costs 9. But otherwise, no, not really. Technically, Rolling Thunder can't even take out multiple Planeswalkers. I'm not going to go into why, just take my word for it. You can't. So for that reason and that reason only, all things aside, everything else I said in the video aside, yes, too many Planeswalkers are legal. They cover too many colors, and people can run too many of them. It's just plain as day, plain and simple. And one Planeswalker that can protect himself, and then one Planeswalker that completely sucks and can't protect himself but is hyper powerful otherwise, the first one can cover for the second one. That's why it's even worse. So, anybody want to take a guess at how many Planeswalkers are legal in Standard right now, total? Here, I'll let you silently make a guess in your head. Okay, it's 27. I'm going to take a wild guess. You probably said like, I don't know, 16. That probably would have been my guess. It's 20 freaking 7. I mean, even take out the garbage ones from the Planeswalker decks, which some of them are debatably better than the actual ones, like Tezzeret. That's still a lot. That's a lot. That is a lot of damn Planeswalkers, and boy, do they run the colors. It's like no matter what colors you're playing, there's a Planeswalker for it. And then, of course, the complete disease that's infected Magic called letting people play 3 colors way the hell too easily. That's letting people almost exclusively by itself play too many Planeswalkers. I mean, if you're stuck with 2 colors, you usually have maybe 2, maybe 3 Planeswalkers if you're lucky 4 to choose from. And then if they have nothing to do with what your deck does, you wouldn't put them in. So in reality, you're probably limited to like 1. But 3 color, oh my god, you got the dual color, the other dual color that you could choose from, and then all 3 mono. I mean, holy crap, you could put anything in. Okay, so back in the day, how many Planeswalkers are printed in Gatecrash? 2. Dragon's Maze? 1, and he sucked. Now in Theros there were 3, that kind of feels like a lot. I think that's where they kind of started to go off the deep end a little bit here. Journey into Nyx had 1, and also Born of the Gods had 1, and they honestly weren't that great. I mean, this is Kiora the Crashing Wave. She wasn't absolutely amazing. In fact, 2 loyalty for 4 mana, I mean, come on. Like, she was powerful, but that kind of sucked. So they kept it pretty reasonable back then. I mean, if you think about it, add all those up, that's like not 27 Planeswalkers. Now, even Khans of Tarkir had 2, Fate Reforged had 1, although Ugin counts as like 10, so I'll just say 10. Dragons of Tarkir had 2, and, you know, that's kind of getting up there a little bit. Now, you know I'm going here. Kaladesh had 6. Aether Revolt had 4, so we've already just in one block beaten pretty much all of Standard in the past. Now, Shadows over Innistrad had 4, and Eldritch Moon had 2, and I just realized that, I'm sure you've already corrected me, it's not 27, I counted Arlen Cord twice, because the Gatherer website counted her twice. Thanks. So 26, whatever, it's too damn many. Battle for Zendikar, of course, had 3, Oath of the Gatewatch had 2, they pretty much spread the color spectrum pretty good on that one. And you might recall the volume of them that were in Origins, that goes without saying. So they went from like 1 to 2 to like, here, have 6. Now, it's arguable that this isn't a trend, this is just a side effect, because the Gatewatch, a whole bunch of Planeswalkers teaming up, are you really gonna not print 4/5 of them, we'll say, and just stick to 1? That wouldn't even make sense. So just to follow the story for the sake of the lore, they're printing more, I guess, but I mean, Saheeli Rai was completely unnecessary, but that's like a whole nother topic. She wasn't part of the Gatewatch. They got Dovin Bond, completely unnecessary. And in the whole storyline in the block, you only really need to print each of the major Planeswalkers once, so you could split it between the 2 sets in the block. So, no, I don't think that's a proper excuse for them printing more. I think it's just, hi, I'm Wizards of the Coast and I want your money. That's more of a better explanation. So what do you guys think? I mean, do you never have a problem with Planeswalkers? I'm completely overstating it. They're so simple to blow up, because if so, you're clueless, you're arrogant, and you have no idea how Magic works. Or do you agree with me? They're too powerful, they're a nuisance, they need to really cut back on them a ton, and they need to stop letting people play like, 16 Planeswalkers in a deck and get away with it. In fact, should there be a hard limit on the number of Planeswalkers in a deck? Should they say, you can only have 6 total? I think that would be reasonable. Either that or make all Planeswalkers like universally co-legendary or whatever. Technically, it isn't even the legendary rule that makes you not be able to have 2 Jaces out, but just say you cannot have more than 1 Planeswalker out at a time, because if you think about it, that kind of makes sense, other than, you know, the Gatewatch. But that would solve everybody's problems. But still, even just 1 Planeswalker, it's so annoying to play around these damn things. Every time somebody summons one, nobody has a positive reaction to them. So when it's that negatively received, I would say that it's time to just remove them from the game completely. Now, I think people are such big fans of Planeswalkers as cards that they would not like that. Even I would hesitate to say, yes, just nuke them all. It's just, people really don't like them. So let me know what you think. You know, how much do you hate them on a scale from 1 to Hitler? Do you think they should be limited? Do you think they should print more of them or less of them, or spread them out, or just keep printing like Nissa 4 times so that you can't have more than 1 Nissa out? How would you deal with the current situation, which I think is very out of control? Or do you really like the boost to the EV? You like pulling foil Planeswalkers because they're, well, I'd say automatic whoop-de-doo great cards, but I mean, hello, masterpieces are going to be printed from now until forever. I mean, there's your big bonus lottery card. I mean, a foil Planeswalker, it's about the same damn rarity. So whatever your opinion on this, let me know down in the comment section, and I'll see you guys next video.